Hey friends, it's Jasmine, and I hope that you all are doing well. Today I'm going to be doing a little demonstration video here for you guys on how I do an RTS. An RTS is just a return to sender spell, and I have a couple different versions of this spell that I can actually show you guys. So if you're interested in seeing some other ways on how to do a return to sender, comment down below and let me know if you would like to see some other return to sender techniques. Also, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I create lots of fun, witchy and occult pagan related content here, and I would definitely appreciate you subscribing to my channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and let's get right into the video. Like I said, a RTS just represents a return to sender. So first, when would you be doing this spell? Well, ideally, you would do this return to sender spell if you feel like there has been negativity sent your way, or it can be anything from an evil eye to picking up, negative energy from a place or an event, or it could be something as serious as a practitioner, actively working against you. But it doesn't just have to be used in the example of curses, hexes, or jinxes. Like I said, this can also be used to return energy back to a place. And so in a way, you can kind of also think of this in a little bit as like a banishment spell and also a cleansing spell. But essentially it's to return everything. Now, when I talked about the couple different varieties of this spell, one, before you're doing any spell work, you absolutely want to make sure that you're consulting your cards or your preferred divination system, or you've seen, a reader or even a couple of readers to even get a second opinion or a third opinion. And only really do this if in the case that you're worried that maybe you're cursed, jinxed, hex, whatever, you're only really going to be doing this if it's completely confirmed. And I do have a video here on my channel of, so you think you're hexed, and that kind of talks about, signs and symbols and omens of, people working against you, but you can also see a lot of that through the cards. So a couple different techniques with this. This is going to be like the pretty standard technique, or at least my standard way of how I do it, and we're not going to be using very many ingredients. Witches have always used what they've had on hand, and being a witch in 2021 is no different. So just use what you've got. Now, the couple different ways, I'm showing you the standard now, which is basically to return energy that you have picked up to its original place. Or you could also use this in the sense of someone's thrown something at you and you want to return it back to the sender. You can also use this a little bit more defensively, a little bit more offensively, and I do have a little bit of my own twist on this. You will see this spell, if you look up return to sender spell here on YouTube, you will see this done, hundreds of different ways, and every witch kind of has their own technique. This one for me, it's a little bit of a mix of offense and defense, and the main objective here is that we want to pull all of the magic that's been sent your way out of you, right? So we want to pull all that evil eye, pull all that negativity out of the situation. And then we want to throw it right back to the person who conjured it. As a way to kind of like shove their own negative intentions down their throat. Now, I will tell you too, if you're new to my channel, I am very much an LHP or left-hand path or baneful practitioner. So I have no real problem with, using witchcraft as a way of not only just defense and for blessings and attractions and charms and gree-grees, but also for straight up attack. This specific spell isn't necessarily a magical assault, but it's taking someone's energy that they've thrown your way, and we're going to amplify that energy and throw it right back at them. To give you an equivalent, it would be like, let's say someone threw a basketball at your head when you were not paying attention. This spell would be catching the basketball before it hits you, amplifying all that negative energy that already belongs to them, and we're just amplifying it. So turning that basketball into a car and then amplifying it and throwing it back at them, so that way, like, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like a metaphor for, like, instead of it being a basketball hitting them, it's a whole vehicle hitting them. So like the damage is amplified. When I think about the rule of three, I know that especially a lot of Wiccans will kind of tout this whole rule of three, law of threes feel. And I don't believe in that myself personally. I look at the rule of three in the sense that as a witch, I operate in the rule of three. So if you do me a favor, I will bless you abundantly. And if you slight me, I don't make a good enemy. So here's what I'm going to be using. And remember, guys, you can take all of this and just use this as kind of like a blueprint. Very important that you make this spell your own. So anytime you're looking at my, my like witchy how-to videos or some of my spell videos, this is the way that I do things. It's important to, watch these videos and, take what you like, but it's okay to also leave what you don't. And it's also okay to add other ingredients or tweak the spell to fit you better, to fit your practice better, because how each witch does this is going to be different. So this is just an example. Show you some of the ingredients that you are going to want to have. For one, I'm going to be using a chime candle. You can pick these up at most occult or metaphysical stores. I'm going to be using a black chime candle. The reason I'm using black is because, to me, I like to use these black candles for, protective work and also offensive work as well. So I will be using a black chime candle. Also, I'm going to have my Hamsa here. This is like a charged, amulet that I use in some work. And it's made to where you can burn incense into it and you can charge and feed the amulet. You can have it this way. Now, I'm doing it this way so that way you guys can kind of see it on camera. But if a Hamsa hand is up like this is a protection Hamsa, because it's like stopping you in your tracks, right? Stopping the negativity or the evil eye from hitting you, stopping it in the tracks. If the Hamsa is turned this way, it's more like, give me the money, right? This would be more like a lucky or a good fortune Hamsa. For this particular spell, we're using it as a protective, right? And we're banishing, we're evoking here. I'm going to be having my Hamsa upright. And for the sake of this video, just know that to me, this looks upright. Even though to you guys on camera, it looks like the show me the money Hamsa, but I'm going to be using it in a protective sense. You're also going to want to have a bowl of salt. This is what I'm using. And the salt that I use is this Mediterranean salt. I believe that you can actually pick this up from Kroger. And you get a pretty good amount of coarse sea salt here for the price. And I just love cooking with this salt. And I also love using this type of salt in magic. You get a really nice, thick, coarse grain of salt, I guess. And I just like it because I feel like it's the best sort of salt to really work with. I'm also going to be using some black peppercorns here. And something else that I want to say when it comes to magic is you don't need a bunch of crazy ingredients. If you want to incorporate different ingredients, that's fine. But in reality, when it comes to magic, you can do most things, in my opinion, with some salt, some pepper, a little bit of sugar, which I'm not using in this spell, but salt, pepper, and sugar are really my top 3 go-to ingredients, herb-wise, and then some candles, some water. I mean, you can keep it very simple here. The salt is used as a purifier and a cleanser. The black pepper is used in protection and also offensive, baneful work. And if we were using sugar, which we're not in this spell, but sugar is to sweeten things up or charm things. So those 3 ingredients are very powerful and can be used in so many different spells in so many different ways. And remember, like I said before, witches have always used what we've had on hand. So, there wasn't these big fancy online boutiques and metaphysical stores and, botanicas and occult shops and all this stuff. It was just, we used what we had. Now, that's not to say that if you want to incorporate other ingredients, be the witch of 2021 if you want to be. But anyway, You're also going to want to have some nails. I have some nails here. These are nails that I just keep in this bag here that I pretty much have in my witchy room all the time. So they're just kind of charged up by that. And I like to use these nails in varieties of different spells, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to be using them in this Return to Sender. I'm also going to be having this totem here. This is a taxidermied scorpion. And I just, you know, without going into too much detail, because it's kind of personal, I like to have this here by me when I'm doing work as kind of like, not only is it a servitor, not only is it, you know, an empowerment tool for the ritual, but I just love it. I love it being here in my space, and I love when I'm doing this sort of work. I'm also going to have my selenite dagger, my selenite wand. I use it in both ways. I will be using this in the ritual as well for when I speak my intention over the space, and the selenite will kind of amplify that intention. Of course, you're going to want to have a lighter. And then I'm also going to be using a mirror. Now, you can, if you do not have a small mirror, you can pick these up normally at places like the dollar store or craft store sometimes sell these little mirrors. But if you do not have a small mirror, you can use a reflective surface. You could use something like aluminum foil. Okay, remember, use what you have on hand. You could use a sheet of aluminum foil that is reflective. The main reflective aspect of this is that we are returning it to the sender here. So with a mirror like this, since we're doing the work on top of it, we're reflecting it back. But these mirrors are also nice too, because when you are doing baneful work, aside from a return to sender, like let's say you were going to be, you know, hexing or cursing someone, or a business or a place, using these mirrors like this are nice because it kind of creates this reflection. So if, you know, practitioners or mediums were, you know, looking into the work that was done on someone, their vision would be reflected back. And that's even more amplified if you're doing baneful work on a dark moon where you're already protected underneath the cloak of darkness anyway, you know, unlike doing baneful work on a full moon, which is amplified exponentially, but it is illuminated as well. And so it could be easier to uncover the work being done via divination. Currently, the moon is waning, so we are going to be using some of that energy, some of this waning moon. You know, we've just kind of crossed the super full moon, blood moon eclipse, and now we're kind of waning off of that, and I want to incorporate some of that waning moon energy as well. That is going to be really everything that you're going to need. You need some kind of reflective surface. You need a chime candle. You need a bowl of salt. You need some black peppercorns, and you need some nails. Everything else, this selenite wand, my amulet here, and this little totem, everything else is extra that I have added into this and that I have tweaked to kind of make my own. And I guess the nails even too. Not everyone uses nails in a return to sender. I like using them, and I'm going to show you why. And then also some people do not use a mirror plate. Some people do this in a bowl of water and then burn the candle in the bowl. So if you have a bowl of water, kind of picture that. And then you would have a candle holder such as this. So the bowl would be here, right? Can you kind of picture? So the bowl would be kind of like this, and then the candle, right? And then the water would come up to here, and so this would be being burned in a bowl of water. That's another way that this can be done because water is also reflective. Like I said, you can also do this with aluminum foil. If you have aluminum foil, but you don't have a mirror plate, or you don't want to use a bowl of water, whatever, you can do it that way as well. So we're going to get right into this particular spell. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my candle and I'm going to inscribe on it here, which I've essentially already done. Okay, I've already carved the person's name in and all of that. Now, if you are returning, you know, energy that has been sent your way, obviously, we want to really pull cards here. We want to make sure, we want to be certain, right? So in this particular case, we're going to be under the assumption for educational and entertainment purposes, allegedly only.
Or is it?
that we know exactly who's been sending some energy our way. We know exactly who's sending it, what they did, when they did it, because we've pulled all the cards. We have confirmation, right? And we can see it clear as day because we're boss witches and we know what the hell we're doing. We know what the hell that we're about, and we're not afraid to do what we need to do in order to get shit done, period. So I'm going to carve that person's name here on this candle and any additional information I have on this person. So if I know their birthday, their sun sign, their moon sign, their rising sign, Venus, Mars, Mercury, etc., etc., I'm going to carve all of their astrological runic symbols here on the candle. I'm going to write their name here on the candle. If I know their middle name and their last name, I'm going to write it here on the candle. If I know that, you know, the city that they're born in, I'm going to write that on the candle. And guys, keep in mind, people give so much information away freely just from their Facebook page, right? So much information. I mean, this kind of goes into when I was talking about using astrology as a way to curse people by looking at people's Saturn and Pluto signs, right? And I talked about why I think it's so reckless sharing all of your private natal information so publicly on Facebook is because that information can and will be used against you by witches. So that's just something to think about. But yes, you're going to take that candle. Now, I would charge it in a spot. And so this plate is a charged plate, and I can charge items here on this. So this candle has been charged for protection. It has sat on this plate for protection, right? So then I'm going to take my candle and my bowl. Now, the bowl here is already filled with salt. And like I said, I'm using that Mediterranean salt. I really like this salt because it's a nice, thick, coarse salt. It's very easy to work with. I really like that. And Mediterranean salt is just of a higher caliber. And then I'm also going to be using these black peppercorns. Now, you could take these black peppercorns and crush and grind these up if you wanted to. I prefer to just use these whole in this particular case. And so I'm going to be mixing these black peppercorns with the salt here. And, you know, you don't really need a whole lot. That's why I'm just using this small bowl and I'm using my nails, you know. Don't be afraid to kind of like get in there. And you can also, you know, push your intention into this as well. As you kind of mix the salt and the pepper, you're also going to be giving the salt and the pepper jobs. You're going to be speaking over the herbs and anointing them with your breath and spoken word. So the salt here is to cleanse and to purify all negativity, all evil eyes that have been sent my way. The salt here is to completely cleanse any magic, spirits, entities that has been sent my way. The salt here is to completely obliterate negative intentions. The pepper here is to protect me, cloak me in protection, right? I want this pepper to protect me, and I want this pepper to serve as a protective barrier so that if anyone were to send negativity my way again, they would be burned by these black peppercorns. I also want this peppercorn, I want this black peppercorns here in this bowl to use their heat and use their spice to blind my enemies. I want them not to see this coming. I want them to think that the magic they sent my way was successful. I want them to not know that I did a return to sender spell. I want them to think that their target hit me. I want them to think that I'm vulnerable. I want them to think that their magic took well, because that way they will not see what I have in store after this spell coming towards them. I want the black peppercorn and the salt mixed together in perfect unity and perfect harmony and perfect balance by the left and the right hand paths. I want these two to work in unison to attack my enemy, to attack my oppressor who sends negativity my way. So there we go. We're going to speak into that. Then we're going to take our candle, okay, and for the time being, you can just kind of take your mirror plate and rest your bowl here on top. We're going to get our nails now. Now, these nails are going to represent whatever has been sent our way. So we're going to take some of these nails, right? Because if someone really threw some magic your way, they are seeking to harm you in some way or another. And these nails are going to represent that harm that was sent your way and what might be attached to you. So we're just going to push these nails. Let me show you here. So we're just going to push these nails into this candle. basically to where it looks just like that. Okay, so go ahead and fill this candle up with nails. So basically, this is what your chime candle should look like. This is just kind of an example here of, what it will look like once you have the nails poked in. And the nails are going to represent the negativity, the entities, the spirit, the magic that was thrown your way. As this candle burns down, the nails are going to fall out of the wax, and they're going to fall into this jar or around this jar. The nails are a form of sympathetic magic that represents your oppressor's toxicity and negativity and ill intention. So that way you can save those nails from this spell and use them in the next spell if you wanted to layer even more, baneful magic over this. If you not only wanted to return their own negativity, but if you wanted to amplify that negativity, you're going to use the metal and the nails to work as kind of a magical conduit to collect the negativity. So that way you can take it, amplify it, and throw it back at them even harder, instead of just repelling it. Because some people in Return to Sender will just absolve the negativity entirely. That's not fun for me. I don't want to do that. And then some people will just take that person's negativity and take it for what it is and return the exact same negativity. But I don't want to keep dealing with some sort of issue. So I'd rather take the negativity and amplify it to an absurd amount, and then throw it right back in that person's face. Like, instead of it being just a basketball hitting that person's head, it's like a car is going to be falling on them. So we're going to take it like that. And we're going to be pushing this into our mixture here. So that is what this should look like. Very simple. Not a whole lot of ingredients, but a whole lot of intention and a whole lot of power here. You then can also take your, if you're using any sort of charge, you can also layer this here. So I'm going to be layering my Hamsa and my Scorpion over this. So that way it can kind of charge throughout the spell. I'm also going to go ahead and just light a little bit of Palo Santo here, used for, banishing spirits and exorcisms. And I'm just going to light a little bit of this up. I lit a little bit of this earlier to kind of like cleanse the space as well, but I just want everything out of my space, and I want my space nice and clean. No spirits without permission are permitted here. Anything that has been sent my way, I command to be returned. Return this by the power of 3.
How about that?
So then you're going to light your candle. And you're going to allow this candle to burn all the way through. So remember, as this candle burns, the nails will be falling out of the candle and landing in your jar or right around your jar. And I would recommend saving those nails, because then those nails are now empowered and have absorbed some of that negativity, right? We're sending it all back, and we're also taking part of it and absorbing it into the metal of the nails. So that way we can save those nails for baneful work later. Whether you wanted to use them in an apple hex, like a malum malice or a lemon hex, whether you wanted to use them in some poppet doll workings, whether you wanted to mix it with some graveyard dirt and, maybe poke the nails through a person's picture, put it in a coffin box and take it to the crossroads in a graveyard, whatever the case might be, I would recommend saving those nails, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my selenite dagger, my selenite wand here, and I'm going to say an incantation over the spell and charge the area using the magical tool. One that is to blame, return this hex from whence it came. Upon my safety I do hold, send the damage back returned threefold. Send the damage back returned threefold. Send the damage back returned threefold. To who is to blame, return this hex from whence it came. Upon my safety I do hold, send the damage back and return it threefold. Ready, witches, so that is going to be the end of this spell. As you can see, we've burnt out here, and we have our wax and our nails and our salt and our pepper, and this would be the end of the spell. Now, if you wanted to stop this spell here, what I would do is I would take all of this mixture that we have, and I would place it in like a organza bag, and I would bury it in your yard. Or if you would like to amplify this a little bit, I would take this mixture and place it in an organza bag so that way you can save it for future workings. Like I said, you can stick this and fill it inside of a poppet doll and poke the nails and pierce the nails through it. You could print off an image of the person who sent negativity your way and write on the image, and then take these nails and pierce through the image, and then take the salt and pepper and roll it up almost like you would something else, and then throw the whole thing into a bonfire. You know, the possibilities are really endless, but you know, the aspect of taking someone throwing a basketball at you and turning it into throwing an entire vehicle back at them that's why we use the nails in this, is because the nails, the metal is going to absorb that negativity, and then we're going to take it, harness it, and amplify it. So if you stop the spell here, it's just kind of a basic return to sender, returning their own negativity to them. If you keep these ingredients and take these ingredients and layer it into an additional spell working, that's kind of more my style of the return to sender, is not just returning what they sent, but and then a little bit more, of course. So thank you all again so much for watching. I really appreciate all of the support. Make sure that if you like this video, give this video a like. If you don't like this video, give it a dislike. I mean, either way, it helps your girl out. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. And for all my returning subscribers, like, so much love to you. I really appreciate all the support. It was amazing with the Learn Black Magic Basic workshop, the turnout that we had. It was incredible seeing so many of you at that workshop. And don't forget to check out all of my links down below. And if you're interested, I do have a Patreon where you can get more behind the scenes access, and more than likely I'll probably be uploading an exclusive video to Patreon soon showing what I'm going to be doing with this particular mixture. And anyway, until next time, blessed be.